Personally speaking, there's nothing worse than being in a conversation and being interrupted and two, not listened to. 6 years ago, I was with friends in Mozambique and we were at one of my friend's house and we were having conversations about many different topics. And at one point, it's a friend of mine just stood up, everyone quiet. And at that point, I felt that someone said something rude, someone hurt the other person, and he said something priceless. Can we listen to each other? Because we're just talking at the same time and we're not listening to each other, and that is very disrespectful. From that moment on until today, I try to, each time that I'm having a conversation, to listen actively. It's an exercise and requires practice. You need to practice, 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 and practice. Active listening, in my personal opinion, it only plays in your advantage. If you're having a conversation and if you're doing it right, one, you will easily create empathy towards the other person, and two, it will help your communication to be effective. 2 weeks ago, I was one of the facilitators of a communication training. It was a 3-day training, and in one of the sessions, we did an exercise of active listening. And after doing this exercise, we were discussing, sharing opinions, sharing points of view. And it was very interesting to listen to someone say that in their working environment, if people applied active listening, that would have helped the communication to be efficient and effective. Because normally the person was saying that that the meetings, they last 3 to 5 hours, and they could easily last 1 to 2 hours if people would apply the active listening into the conversations. Why? Because people talk at the same time, they do not listen to what other people is saying, and then they might repeat the same things over and over and over. Language and culture plays a huge impact on how conversation and discussions go. In some cultures and countries, when you are in a job meeting, probably they talk at the same time, they were very loud. And that's normal. That's how you get things done. In other cultures, things might be a little bit different. The job meetings are more quiet, people listen to each other, people talk once at a time, and this is how it goes. I'm not saying which one is bad, which one is good. I'm just sharing and making a statement. Which brings me to how I'm fascinated with the German language. It's one of my favorite languages, and I'll tell you why. Because in some circumstances, there are verbs which are broken in two. And the first parts, in certain circumstances, they go to the very ending of the sentence. And this first part, which sometimes is only 2 letters, it can change the whole meaning of the sentence, which makes you, it kind of forces you to listen until the very end. But this brings me to the next point. Listen actively. It's not just waiting till the other person is finished so you can start talking. You need to listen actively, as it says. It's not, okay, the person is talking, I'm going to let her finish or him finish so I can start talking. This is completely wrong. This is not active listening. When you do it, the active listening, you need to talk to the person and engage in a conversation. To be an active listener is not only to listen, but to fully understand what the other person is talking. To see through their eyes, their point of view, to step in their shoes and really see what they mean and understand what they mean. Third point, listen actively alone is not enough. You need to do it and you need to show that you're doing. What I mean is, Even if I was the best person at multitasking, and right now you would be having a conversation with me, and even though I was listening to you, I would be texting on my cell phone, I would be checking my nails, I would be looking out the window or just playing with my clothing. How would that make you feel? Probably irritated, frustrated. You would feel that I don't care of what you're saying about what you're saying, and most probably disrespected. So when you do the active listening, it only plays in your advantage. Start practicing now, and I urge you and encourage you to each conversation that you have from now on, try to reflect and see how good of an active listener you are. So remember, listen actively, and by this, it's not waiting till the other person is finished to talk so you can start talk, and show that you are listen actively. How can you do that? What can help you to engage in a conversation? One is to look to the person's eyes, or let's say the face. You can be looking to the forehead if it's very uncomfortable to have eye contact. You can look to the forehead, to the cheeks, but look to the person. Second, you can nod. It shows that you're engaged in a conversation. And third, you can make the sound like nod time to time. Or if you're afraid to get lost in conversation, you can ask the person, you rephrase it. So what you're trying to say is that the British Parliament is going to have an agreement. Is that correct? And then the person continues and you show that you're listening actively. It's everything for today. Kanimambo. See you next Sunday.